all the signs, all the behavior and what have you, are bordering towards dictatorship. Because when you disobey a court order, when your people are saying no, and you disregard court orders, and you rubbish everybody, is there a better name to call you other than a dictator? Remember, those people are watching you going to bed with their enemy. So I will not be surprised if they intensify their attacks on Kenya. What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house, this is not Sogoi. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.
A very good day to you and welcome to Philip Kisia Unscripted. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. It's always a joy to have you for conversations which we say we hope will help our political leaders in making better policy and political decisions. My guest says, if the truth shall kill them, let them die. He's here for honesty and honesty only. Today's conversation is about Ruto, President Biden's puppet. That is the conversation we're having in the country after his USA state visit. Everyone is thinking, we've received a lot of goodies, but what are we giving back? Should we have this conversation? Should we trust the president acts for the best interest of this country? Philip Kisia, thanks for making time once again. It's always a pleasure to have you on this particular Friday. How has the week been for you? What are the highlights that you've seen?
Well, being a Friday, I'm happy that the week is ending.
Yeah, well, is that Friday feeling?
Yeah, after those who enjoyed breakfast at Safari Park, yeah, they left us out. But anyway, so yeah. Jed, one of the highlights this week is a video I came across by my very good friend Pielo Lumumba. And, you know, it was lamenting. It was asking very hard questions about why the Kenya Kwanza government is so fixated in sending our young officers to Haiti. So I'll request you to play that video. I'm sure you must, you're a very resourceful young man, you can get it.
If you want African policemen, you can find 1,000 in the United States police force. Why can't you go to the Caribbean and have that done? Why can't you go to Brazil and have that done? And if we are doing it, why approach a single African country? Why don't you ask for the African Union and we have a donation of forces from different African countries? I think that the Kenyan police force, and this is an ongoing thing, are being used by the United States of America to play the role that they don't want to play. Because Haiti is not a walk in the park. Gangsterism has become a way of life.
So that is PLO. Speaking about Haiti, why isn't America sending its troops there? Why is this video capturing you?
You see, because we, Dr. Ekuru, Aukot, Kabado, myself, had presented a petition to the UN Assembly and to President Biden and the others about Haiti. And we put up a case, a very strong case, you know, questioning the wisdom behind choosing Kenya, which is geographically miles apart from Haiti, culturally miles apart, and there's nothing that can motivate any head of state to send officers, young officers, to be butchered in Haiti. Because, as PLO has said, these are gangsters. These are people who are merciless. They have already sent warning shots and they have said, you come here, we return you as cargo to the sender. So, and PLO is asking very pertinent questions. He's asking, America, who you're better trained soldiers, officers, police, why can't you just take 1,000 of them? You're closer to them geographically. Why can't you consider Caribbean? Again, closer in terms of culture and what have you. Why can't you consider even Brazil? Why pick on Kenya? And even if you must pick Africans, because these Haitians came from Africa, why can't we send a continental troop? Pick 5 from, or whatever number, from all members of AU, and you send a force to assist our fellow Africans. Because if you want to send black people, there are black people in America, there are black people in Caribbean, there are black people in Brazil. But because you want black from Africa, why can't you send a representation from the African Union? Okay? You see, the question that PLO asks is quite, it's something that people need to look at it very keenly. Why does America want us to do their dirty job? Why?
You're calling it dirty job?
It's a dirty job.
It's not restoring peace and order in Haiti?
No, it's a dirty job because you know why the Americans have refused to leave Haiti for all those years, and the French and what have you. It's because of the mineral resources. And they normally come, place in a government. When the government stops behaving, they remove you using whatever means, they put in another one so that they can continue benefiting. These are global imperialists. Why would President Ruto allow himself to do a dirty job? Why is he playing the Uncle Tom's role? But anyway, having said that, and I'm happy that PLO has spoken on this matter, I want to congratulate the transitional leader of the council, Mr. Gari, who has been elected as a transitional leader, as Prime Minister for that country. I'm hoping that he has his own script. He has his own prescription to deal with the challenges together with the other leaders. He should find a prescription to deal with the challenges facing Haiti. He should not, even for 1 minute, allow interference from colonial masters and their allies, Kenya included. In fact, I would now encourage the new Prime Minister, the Transitional Council, to shred that piece of paper that was signed between some gentleman who came to Nairobi, a citizen from Haiti called Henry, and President Ruto. He should put in a shredder. Because it was not sanctioned by the parliament there. The people of Haiti have said no. The people of Kenya are saying tawe. Okay? The courts have said no. It is only President Ruto and President Biden who think it is the right thing to do. Why? They have personal interest. President Ruto wants to come out as the strong man in Africa. The strong man in Africa.
He said in prayer breakfast we should be proud.
He wants to be the strong man in Africa. He wants to come out the strong man in Africa. President Biden is fearing, and I'm sure he's going to be crushed by Trump. And you see, there's a risk. When Trump comes in, all these things we are seeing, we are talking about, they are signed by Biden, will be again, a piece of paper. He'll come up with new policies. And this, even Whitman said that, it's 50-50. So I would encourage the new leader and the new leadership to completely disassociate themselves from that agreement, because it was signed by a citizen who had no powers. It is signed by an ally of America in the name of His Excellency President Ruto, who is now bordering into a dictator. He's now actually, all the signs, all the behavior and what have you, are bordering towards dictatorship. Because when you disobey a court order, when your people are saying no, and you disregard court orders, and you rubbish everybody, is there a better name to call you other than a dictator? So I have confidence that the new leader will spare our people from being sacrificed, human sacrifice.
Okay.
He should spare our people. He should spare their own people, because there will be a clash between our police officers and the gangs who are in Haiti. Therefore, please, Mr. Gari, I wish you God's guidance, and I pray that God will give you wisdom, that you run away from all those agreements that have been signed and sanctioned between Biden, Ruto, and this guy, the citizen from Haiti who came here.
He was the prime minister before.
Henry. He should run away from that.
Talk to me then about our conversation for today. You've talked very well about Haiti. And my conversation is about President coming back from the state visit. Kenyans are asking questions. There are those that support the state visit saying, look, let's just look at the benefits. There are some who are asking, what is under those benefits? What is hidden? A lot of conversations and concerns. But let me ask you from where you sit. Before I even talk about the benefits, of course, there's the expressway and whatever. Do you have concerns too about Ruto being a puppet of USA?
Jed, you've said it yourself. You've called him a puppet.
Because this is what Kenyans are asking. So I'm asking whether you're there with
So now that you have said he's a puppet, mine is to confirm or deny that he's... That's my job.
That is my question, actually.
Okay. But even before we dive into that topic, you're always very resourceful. I would want you to look for that video, the one Mobutu Sese Seko, a stronger man than Ruto, who was removed from power because of misbehavior, misdeeds, and being a dictator. I think he went to the US, Washington, 9th December 1986. Just look for that video.
Expressed our admiration for President Mobutu's courageous action in sending troops to assist the government of Chad in its struggle against Libyan-backed rebels. On the home front, the President has informed me of progress on his government's economic stabilization plan. Zaire is taking the difficult but necessary steps to ensure sustained economic progress. And it's important that we and Zaire's other friends do what we can to help. President Mobutu and I also discussed his country's political situation, and I told him of the positive reaction in the United States to his recent decision to offer amnesty to his political opponents. This visit has permitted the President and me to reaffirm our common desire for peace and stability in Africa.
Well, I want to make a couple of points on it. It does appear that he has left Kinshasa. The United States position is clear. We want to see a transition to a genuine democracy.
President Mobutu should not affect the fact that we need a peaceful transition in Zaire, no bloodshed in Kinshasa, an inclusive government, an end to the refugee crisis, the humanitarian problems there. Zaire now needs to rebuild itself. It needs a reconstruction, reconciliation.
Okay, what is this video about?
You can imagine, 1986, same script. Go and do this for us. The president is reading. You know you're a good boy. You're a very good boy, you know, and we're supporting you. We'll give you one or two things. But now we want you to go and do the following for us. That is the same thing that Ruto found himself. The same script, just different players. Different players, but the same script. So I don't know why my president cannot learn from history. But having said that, Jed, people are talking about the so-called benefits of this trip. And now we are recognized as a, we have space in NATO. Of course, there are benefits of being recognized by US. Not that you're a member, but US puts you in the arrangement. Of course, being the first country in sub-Saharan to be recognized is something to talk about. We get into history. Because other than the other country I can think of in Africa, we have Egypt and Tunisia. So maybe a big thing to talk about. Maybe when President Ruto is writing his memoirs, he'll say this is what he achieved. Okay? And then, of course, Jed, there are issues, I don't know if it's a benefit, strategic security partnerships with the US. You enjoy that one. Yeah? Those partnerships, like the ones that they've talked about in terms of training officer in terms of intelligence and so on and so forth. And then, of course, access to American technology and other economic benefits. So those are, on paper, some of the benefits that you get. But on the flip side, I'm telling you, is massacre. On the flip side, you annoy most of the Arab countries who don't agree with America. Remember, there's Al-Shabaab. Remember, there's Houthi. Remember, there's the other one is what? ISIS. Okay? Remember, those people are watching you going to bed with their enemy. So I will not be surprised if they intensify their attacks on Kenya. Because now Kenya is perceived to be their enemy, number one. Kenya is their enemy. And therefore, you will most likely see a lot of attacks from these groups. Okay? So if you ask me, you're gaining on one side, but you're also losing critical partners. Critical partners who have disagreed with America. And there are many. And there are many who have been our friends. We have some political and economic engagements. Those are bound to get into the flames because of one silly mistake.
So if you weigh the benefits and the risks, do you think it was important or it was good for the president to have that state and receive these benefits?
I will tell you in one, before even I look at what people are calling benefits. You know, sometimes you media sometimes can be very lazy. You know, you need to also be a bit serious. When somebody takes your autonomy, you're basically becoming a puppet. Remember, Kenya is a sovereign state. When your sovereignty is taken away, it's like you have a family. And sometimes we must use these very basic examples to drive the point home.
Yes.
You have a family, your children. A wife and children. Another man comes in a house and he calls himself the head of that house.
Starts providing.
Takes over. That is what Ruto has done to us. He has allowed another man to come into the house. He is now the head of that home. He will do as he pleases. He can even tell you to step aside and to do whatever he wants to do. You know, when your autonomy is taken away, your sovereignty is taken away, what are you? You are nothing. You're just a puppet. You're a puppet.
So as you evaluate what we call potential benefits, you're talking about sovereignty and autonomy.
Yes.
And from where you sit, you believe this trip has made us go down.
Of course. We are down. We have never been this low. When you are summoned, have you seen President Kagame? Would Kagame take this nonsense? Would Museveni take this nonsense? Would he? I'm just giving you an example. Even Suluhu, who was just coming the other day, will not accept such an arrangement. Where you are, even look at the optics. There are certain things that you can never do. You should never do. So then you are sitting in another fellow's office, who is also a head of state like you. Okay, a superpower. But you are there sitting, even just the optics. You're sitting there and the guy is, looking from the back and just watching and say, yeah, boy, you're my good boy.
So then
what else? Really, this is the lowest that we have ever gone.
So long term, let's talk about long term. How do you evaluate the long term impact of these agreements when it comes to the economic development and, security landscape?
Sometimes, Jed, people also need to do homework. I have heard people talking about the gains.
Yes.
There are certain gains.
Of course.
And I'll talk about the gains. But before I talk about the gains, because the losses are, we are into a net loss. We have given the Americans so much business. and you come back and say that we have scored. When we give an American company business worth 771 billion shillings to construct a 430-kilometer road from Nairobi to Mombasa, we have given them business. You know, it's not free, it's not a grant. This is money Kenyans will pay. Who should be celebrating? The person who should be thanking the other? The person who has given you business, or the person who has received that business? So the Americans should be thanking Kenyans for having a president who has signed off 471 billion shillings. That kilometer of a road will cost approximately 1.16 billion shillings, 1 kilometer to build. That is money that will be paid by Kenyans. Then they talked about housing. Some company has been given, they're coming to invest in housing here. That again is business to Americans. Did we put it through some competitive arrangement? Even that road, did we invite Japan, for example? Did we invite Germany? Did we invite France and say, okay, we have this opportunity, can you put in your bids? Why America? There's something fishy here. Then housing, 23 billion, you know, these guys are coming, first of all, they have free land, the free money that we are contributing, free money from us. Then they're coming some little money, some 23 billion, some small little money, very small little money, to help us build affordable housing. Do you know they'll go back with more? They'll go back with 3 times that amount. They're saying they're coming with 23 billion. Okay? Then they talk about some company that is coming to invest about 23 billion, and then some private companies coming to invest about 90 billion. That is business opportunity that we have given the Americans. They have not given us, we have given them business. On top of that, we have done the unforgivable. We are sending our people, our young men, to Haiti to be slaughtered. 1,000, because of some little money. 1,000 people who are at risk of coming back as cargo. This is high risk. We are just giving away because of small little money. And you're calling it for humanitarian purposes? That's nonsense. Okay, there are gains, we must also acknowledge there's some little gains.
Yes.
4.7 billion on education. Look at now the amount. When it's something that's going to benefit Africans, 4.7 billion, some little amount. Then criminal justice system, about 2.4 billion. Then poverty and malnutrition is about 2 billion. Look at the money they're giving us for electrification, electricity. 500 million shillings. I mean, that's a joke. 500 million shillings, it's a joke. Then if you want to know that this administration, they were very strategic to send Whitman here, Meg Whitman. She's a businesswoman. You know, she's creating business opportunity for Americans, and we are there clapping for her. Oh, she's, the best. This is the first time we have an American ambassador who is in bed with the administration, with a corrupt administration. It's the first time in history. We've never had this. But you can understand where she's coming from. Her mission here is nothing. It's purely to make business in Kenya for the Americans. And she's doing it very well. If you can see the amount that are allocated for fighting corruption, 0.5 billion. It means they are not interested. They are going to put a blind eye on corruption. Have you heard America talk about corruption in Kenya? Have you heard Meg talk about corruption in Kenya? Did you even hear Biden talk about corruption? They always talk about other things, Haiti and, Kenya is a net loser in this arrangement. We've lost completely.
Then what should we consider as Kenyans or as the president? What should the president consider when it comes to dealing with these superpowers, as we call them? Because there's the emergence influence of Russia here, emergence influence of China over the past decade. What should we look at? Because now we are now aligning somehow with the United States.
You know, when we are getting into these arrangements, we must be very careful. Because we have other allies, we have other players. It's not just America. We have Japan, we have Germany, we have UK, we have Russia, we have China. What will they think about us when we totally go into bed with one person, avoiding diversification? You just want to sleep with one fellow.
But the president said he's looking ahead, not west.
Where is he looking ahead and he's already in bed 90% with one fellow? Which ahead is that? But, you see, Jed, we must be careful not to put all our eggs in one basket. Pop. Because the consequences can be very dire. Kenya can end up being very uncompetitive. Because you know, when one person is controlling you, you get to a situation where in economics it's called a near monopoly. This guy will monopolize you. But when you are operating in an open market arrangement, you invite other people. Probably they have better offers. You can imagine what that has done to the image of Kenya. I talked about ISIS, Al-Shabaab, and what have you. How other nations viewing Kenya when you want to go totally in bed with one superpower and yet the others. Okay? What have you done to the confidence that we started developing with Russia, for example, with China, for example, with Japan, for example? What have you done? You've destroyed it in one meeting. Just because of some few goodies. There are very few goodies. If you see what we are, as Kenyans are going to rip off from this trip, is nothing, is meager. Those fellows have been given so much business opportunity. They are the ones benefiting. Kenya is not a beneficiary in any way in this arrangement.
So what's the final word when it comes to us thinking about Kenya aligning with the United States?
You see, I talked about diversification. Spread yourself. Okay? Spread yourself as far as possible. You must get into arrangements which are economically sustainable. Okay? Because when you are with one person, that guy can really squeeze you. And America has many other allies. Will they be able to sustain this relationship in terms of opportunities, in terms of economic growth? Where is the market? The market is not in America. The biggest market is in India and China. Where is India in this arrangement? Where is China in this arrangement? Where does China, 1.4 billion or so. India, about the same amount of people. That's where the market is. That's where the future is. Even Africa alone, the population of Africa is bigger than America. That's where the market is. So where should we be looking at? Should we just be looking at America, small population? Yes, a superpower, yes. But these other countries, are they able to give us, are we able to trade, are we able to cooperate and get similar results or even better results? Yeah? What have we done to our security arrangements? Yeah, the risk that we put this country in. But most important, Jed, there's need to balance everything. To balance economics, politics, yeah, and to know that you cannot sell your country. We are a sovereign state. In fact, that's where Ruto went wrong. To imagine, just because we have given him a job as a president, we have given a job as a president, he's our employee. He's not our boss.
Yeah.
You know, he forgets. Tumemwandika. Na hii tumemwandika is with speed. It drives very fast. Yeah. When he drives, we sack him. We're the bosses. So let him behave as an employee, not as a boss. He has no authority. Nowhere in the Constitution does it give him rights to sell our sovereignty to anybody.
Okay.
He has no right whatsoever.
Gonna wrap it up. Kisia says, how can we face forward while we are 90% at bed with America? That's a question that I think you should tell me on my comment section. But until we do talk again, Kisia, final word, almost forgot, as we're heading off of the weekend.
I would want to urge African leaders, and I think Museveni is a good one. It's a good example of somebody who believes in Africa and what Africa is able to do. President Ruto should not go down in history as a puppet. This is the first time we're having somebody who wants to portray himself as strong, but he's really coming out as a puppet. And as I said yesterday, please, Kenyans, in future, vote with your conscience. You can see this administration has moved from better, bottom-up, economic transformation to teta, top-up transformation agenda.
Yeah.
So only a few are going to benefit. Mutaumia for another 3 years. Learn from this lesson.
Thanks for tuning in. Until we do talk again, have yourself a great rest of your day.